Welcome to Bespoke Diaries. Today's article is on, Can You Make a Business Out of Swedish Culture? By Yvone Svea Gossner, founder of Learn Swedish Culture AB, Sweden. What really makes Sweden stand out is its sheer creativity and a culture immersed in sustainability. Every one of us has our own unique way of doing things, and Yvone is no exception. The Swedish culture kept Yvone thinking aloud and seek an answer to her everyday question, can you make a business out of Swedish culture? Well, if you would have asked her this question 5 years ago, she would never believe so. Recently, her venture Learn Swedish Culture AB just won a scholarship by Sten K Johnson Foundation for her efforts in spreading Swedish culture, in order to make it easier for immigrants and tourists to understand Sweden while competing against more than 600 other applicants for the scholarship. It already started when Yvone was a kid. She grew up in the 80s in the Swedish countryside, similar to one of Astrid Lindgren's movies, Pippi Longstocking. She was fortunate enough to be a part of 2 different cultures since she was raised by her Swedish father and German mother. This cross-cultural bond at home made Yvone feel different from all her Swedish friends, since she was the only one in her class whose mother hailed from a foreign culture. Incredibly early, she perceived how different her mother was from all the others around her. It did not take much time for Yvone to determine and come up with a decision to make something great out of the hybrid values that she had received from her parents, who belonged to 2 different cultures. After graduating from the prestigious University of Lund, and inhabiting Germany, Scotland, the USA, and Australia for few years, Yvone was ready to teach Swedish pupils English, German, and Swedish. She pursued this role of a teacher for more than 12 years of her life, imparting knowledge to her students. However, she always desired to live a life that was less ordinary. Yvone says sometimes you have to turn back and follow your heart to find the right path, and she thinks that is what we all want, to know that we left footprints for making a difference to the world around us. Similarly, it is her desire to leave footprints in others' walk of life and be remembered for something, for helping people understand the Swedish culture. Yvone's family could see she was not as happy as a teacher any longer and wanted to live well and live it extraordinary. She was lucky enough to find a part-time job at the university as a teacher, where she taught Swedish language and culture for exchange students arriving in Malmö. She loved her job, but was soon to be replaced by the teacher for whom she was substituted due to her maternity leave. It was that point of life where Yvone reckoned that her dream job would soon end, and will no longer be available. Her passion to contribute her bit towards Swedish culture never ended, and that transformed into a business idea. Within no time, she incorporated her company with €5,000 that her husband provided to start her venture. After numerous presentations and pitch meetings, her hard work landed in discovering IKEA as one of her notable clients. Her presentation was about helping their employees who are not Swedish to understand Sweden. The long-term contract with IKEA and the joy of winning a prolonged client was celebrated by uncorking the champagne to raise a toast with her family. She felt she was on the right track with her company, and she could finally manage to pay herself with a modest salary. Yvone had regular visits to IKEA headquarters in Älmhult, where it once started, and presented the Swedish culture in front of an excited crowd who just moved to Sweden. Things could not get any better because IKEA loved her sessions and positive feedbacks from employees. Soon after the COVID-19 pandemic and early lockdowns, her presentations were cancelled due to the imposed restrictions. This fostered a sense of insecurity with respect to her business and its future. Yvone was lucky that some of her business was already online and was near certain that her venture would survive, to say the least. She was afraid of turning her presentations online, since she had no experience of it, and just the thought of being in front of a camera for hours felt awkward. After a couple of months of realizing that COVID-19 was here to stay for a longer period, Yvone was left with no choice but to overcome her fear and move forward. She decided to make her Swedish culture presentations online, and sell the concept not only to IKEA but to the rest of the world who had any interest in Sweden. Surprisingly, she kind of liked being in front of the camera with her Swedish national dress on and dancing to Swedish House Mafia, a modern version of ABBA. She scored the highest level at IKEA's evaluations, and suddenly life as a woman entrepreneur began to feel good again. Today, Yvone is still doing online presentations, has her own column about Swedish matters in the Swedish Press, a paper established year 1929, thousands of followers on Instagram, where she teaches a sentence of Swedish every day. The enormous joy of winning the yearly Sten K Johnson's Foundation Scholarship of €15,000, with more than 600 applicants of her work are hard to describe. This award in making cultures understand each other better in southern Sweden, by informing immigrants about Swedish culture, is so far the highlight as an entrepreneur woman. Hopefully, Yvone can employ her husband soon in her company, as she needs help because of the enormous workload. She also wants to make it into a family business, as even her daughters, 13 and 11 years old, are very much involved and interested in joining all Swedish adventures that her country is offering, like Vasaloppet, the world's biggest ski race, or Reet fermented herring, an old Swedish tradition. Yvone always believes that your footprints will always be cherished and remembered, for all the good work you have done in your life. Perhaps, there will be something written on her gravestone that makes her remembered and worth apprising, her life beyond ordinary. To say the least, she has a unique name. Svea means Sweden. Yvone will do everything in her power to spread Swedish culture, in order to make it easier for newcomers to begin their life in Sweden, and then prevent racism through increased understanding of different cultures. She hopes that it seems probable that people remember her as Svea, for spreading Swedish matters and make the world fathom that. Yvone believes, yes, you can make a business out of Swedish culture, and everything is possible in Sweden. Thank you for your time. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Do leave your thoughts in the comments section below. For similar type of article, please reach us at contact@thebespokediaries.com, or you can visit our website www.thebespokediaries.com.